Welcome back to part 3 and the last part of the game yesterday between St Johnstone and Aberdeen at McDermott Park for the Scottish Premiership tie on Saturday the 1st of April 2023. One of the videos you'll see on my YouTube, which I uploaded about an hour ago, is this a small part of the Aberdeen fans to my left in the stand to my left. They were behind the goal to my left. For the most part, they were loud, which I don't think anyone can really consent against that, because as a football game, you're meant to come down loud and enjoy the game and go back home. Preferably if your team wins, but we all know football, you can't win every game. Literally a minute before kick-off, as you'll see in my video, as both sets of teams were coming out and they were shaking their hands, they were bigly shaking their hands. Just as the game was about to kick off, at the far left of that stand, the far left coming towards me, one, or I don't know, some section of that part of the Aberdeen support thought it was clever to throw flares and bangers. Why is this becoming such a thing in Scottish football? Are some sections of the fans wanting to create what is big in, let's say, Brazil and Argentina? We're not, as much as I wish we were, we are not like Argentina and Brazil. I'm sure countries like Argentina and Brazil, there's no safety stuff. So if you want to go in and fire a gun at your opponent's worst player, then I'm sure some way in Brazil and Argentina you can do that. I wouldn't recommend it. I would not want anyone to take a gun or anything like that into a game, because football is for everyone's enjoyment. It's one thing coming down, having a couple of drinks to get yourself into a decent atmosphere for the game and in anticipation that your team are going to win. But to throw flares and bangers where there's quite clearly ball boys within arm's length of where you're throwing those missiles, it's dangerous. And this isn't the first time that we've spoke about fans throwing stuff onto the pitch. Ex-Hibernian chief executive, I think that's what she was, Leanne Dempster, who's now, I believe, at Queen's Park, she hit out about 4 or 5 years ago because there was a section of the Hibs fans that were throwing stuff towards Celtic players, Rangers players. I think Rangers captain Tavernier got hit with something about 4 or 5 years ago. Leanne Dempster spoke out, and I pretty much agree with Leanne Dempster. More has to be done. Now, I take a bag everywhere I go. Even when I was a season ticket at Celtic, I had my bag with me because I like to take stuff and put them into a bag. That's just me. I know some people don't need a bag, some people don't like taking a bag, but me, I take a bag most places I go. And comparing it to a few weeks ago when I was in Wickham, I was down at Wickham Adams Park. Down there, it was fairly relaxed. They just didn't want to take in anything can related, which I thought, cool. I only had some bottles of energy drinks anyway, so there wasn't, plus I'm not the type to throw, but I'm just one person. So the stewards had a thorough search through my bag. I didn't mind that because I've nothing to hide. They're trying to protect players fans. They're trying to protect everyone, which is a good thing. And I wouldn't stop any steward searching my bag, even if it was a bottle of, I think I had a isotonic mixed berry, 70 pence, and asked, "Can I get it after the game?" Which I kind of thought they were going to say no anyway. Said, "No, you'll have to throw it away." I didn't mind that. Rules are rules. I'm purchasing a ticket. I've got to abide by their rules. And the rules in Scotland state you can't take anything in. You can't take anything in. That's the rules. If you don't like it, don't go. Same with these morons that think that they can take bangers and pyrotechnics into stadiums. Someone's going to get hurt one day. Someone is going to get really, really hurt. Whether that be a St Johnstone ball boy or a steward or maybe someone else, someone so stupid it's self-inflicted, which I think would be quite funny, to be honest, if it was self-inflicted. Like they went to throw something and they didn't throw it right, and it came back on them, and they got hurt. No one else but them. They'd say, well, justice, karma. But for I don't know where this came into Scottish football. I know back in the 60s and 70s it was a complete different ball game where kids were at the bottom with like workers' hats on, and men were urinating where they stood because the back then most of it was terracing. This was all prior to the Hillsborough disaster, so it was a whole new different ball game back then. Back then, you know, people kind of like in England where people could take in their own drinks, and there's very little a problem. Very rarely does an issue rise, or I hear, or I'll rephrase that. Very rarely have I heard of an incident happening with a fan. You will get the occasional streaker. You will get the occasional person around. Like the idea a while back at the Liverpool Manchester United game when Liverpool got their seventh goal. The idiot who ran from, I believe it was the far side of the the cop stand, because I think he was it Milner nearly injured. He nearly injured a Liverpool player. I think it was James Milner. That in England is rare. I don't know about flares, bangers, because if I'm honest, I don't think I've heard it in Match of the Day. I don't think I've heard it in English Football League highlights. Although I have heard other crazy things in the past, like I think was it Coventry fans throwing tennis balls? Was it Rochdale or Oldham? Then one of the teams after the game, the fans ran on. I think that may have been Oldham about 4 or 5 years ago. But in England, that is a rarity. Up here in Scotland, it's becoming a bit of a epidemic where fans feel that it's okay to do everyone. Hey, I've just purchased £35, or I've spent £25 to go and see us play St Johnstone Park. I'm going to take a flare on because I'm entitled to. No, and I don't even know if they know that they're not just putting bad publicity onto them. They're putting bad publicity into their fellow supporters. Now, I'm I'm at the opinion that the vast majority of Aberdeen fans that made the trip from Aberdeen to Perth yesterday to see the game don't want to cause any hassle. They want to arrive, have a good time, hope their team win, and head home happy. And even if they don't win, head home without causing any issue whatsoever. But there's there is a small part that I think to myself, how much worse is this going to get? Are we going to have to wait until someone gets injured before new laws and legislation comes in for stewards to fully search someone? Now, I'm not saying search like at an airport with a scanner. I think that is a bit the over the over the top. But given something like a porter cabin that you've got to go through before you're allowed to enter the stadium, if you've got nothing to hide, a search would take a minute tops. Pat down, nothing there. Search bag, nothing there. Okay, sir, you're good to go. Have a nice day. What's it going to take before people stop going to football grounds? Sorry, I've lost that there. What's it going to take for people to stop taking pyrotechnics and flares and all that into a, a stadium? I understand some fans may say, oh, it creates a better atmosphere. Maybe it does. Maybe it does. But it's unlicensed. It can hurt someone. How would you feel if it was your kid that, let's just say it was your kid that was a ball boy or a ball girl that was at a football ground, and some inconsiderate moron decided just to throw a flare just for a bit of atmosphere, and it hurt your kid. Or let's say your partner is a steward in that part of the ground, and some inconsiderate moron throws a flare or a banger or whatever, and your partner gets seriously hurt from that. You're going to think to yourself, this is not worth it. So where is this going to stop? And again, I'm sure the majority of all football fans up and down the country, even in England and Wales and Ireland, Northern Ireland, I'm sure they'll want to go to a ground, not cause any hassle, and get back home happy, sad, whatever. But I feel that the Aberdeen fans let themselves down yesterday. The Aberdeen played not that bad. I feel the referee, Colin Steen, as I said in the last part, I feel he had a bad game. I feel that he let quite a lot of things go that he probably shouldn't have let go. But take all that away. Aberdeen won 1-0 yesterday at, at Middenmott Park. They should be going back up to Aberdeen full of joy, thinking, could it be Champions League? Is it Europa League? Now, bear in mind that all comes down to if Celtic or Rangers win the Scottish Cup. All but Celtic, because I'm a Celtic fan. But obviously the other finals between Falkirk and Inverness. So yeah. So I feel I feel the Aberdeen fans let themselves down yesterday. I feel they let the club down yesterday. So yeah. So this is me wrapping up my report on St Johnstone versus Aberdeen next Sunday, Sunday the 9th of April. I will be at Tannadice for Dundee United versus Hibernian. That is a lunchtime game Sunday, and I will report some of this. I'll do that sometime Sunday or Monday. Thank you for watching the Fine View.